All right, hello everyone. Welcome to today's live stream with Matt Pietrek and Travelers Liquors of Belize. We have Amanda Perdomo, Myito Perdomo, Odair Quetzal. I'm going to let Matt introduce you to them in just a moment. Before we jump in, my name's Will Hookinga from Zavvy.co, and just want to kind of give you the lay of the land real quick if this is your first time joining us. So on your right, you'll see a chat window. Feel free to type in, let us know where you're joining us from. Looking at it right now, let's see. Hello from Peter Holland. Hi, Peter. Yeah, it's great to see so many people tuning in from all around the world. So if you have a question at any point during the presentation, there's a little button at the bottom that says Ask a Question. You can just click that, type your question in there. Matt will be keeping an eye on those throughout the presentation. And then at the end, we'll save 10 to 15 minutes or so for Q&A to answer those. Last but not least, feel free to share the event. There's a share button at the top right. Feel free to invite your friends, Facebook, Twitter, email, however you want to communicate. But with that said, I'll turn things over to Matt Pietrek right now. You may know Matt from cocktailwonk.com. Matt is also the community envoy for WRSPA, which is kind of what brings us here today. So Matt, feel free to jump in and tell us what we're in for today.
Excellent. Yeah. Thank you, Will. So yes, this is the fourth of our series of WRSPA member producers that we're bringing to you all on the web to take you behind the scenes of the distillery, to learn about a little bit about learning a little bit more about the rum they make, how they make it, things like that. This series is part of WRSPA, which is the West Indies Rum and Spirits Producers Association, a group of Caribbean countries like Guyana, Barbados, Trinidad, St. Lucia, Jamaica, Belize, as we have here today, and some other countries, all working together on common goals that benefit the Caribbean rum industry. So we've been working with producers, pulling them online and getting them to take you behind the scenes in a way that you've not hopefully never seen before. So today, of course, we have Travelers Liqueurs from Belize, and this is the first of our distilleries that I've not been to yet. So I'm very excited about this and looking forward to learning more about their rum making process. Let's have our three guests here introduce themselves. Let's start with Amanda.
Hi, I'm Amanda Perdomo, and I am a business development manager for Travelers. My dad, Omario, started the company, so I'm one of his children. I worked in Belize for a few years managing the company there, but in 2014 I moved back. And I consult, and I'm also the WRSPA liaison. So I'm happy to be on board here today to talk about our company.
Yeah, it's great. Thank you, Amanda. And I'll just say I did meet Amanda last year when I was at a WRSPA session in St. Lucia.
St. Lucia, yes.
Yes, exactly. So now let's jump over and let's have Myito introduce himself.
Yeah, well, my nickname is Myito. My actual name is Jaime Omario Perdomo. I'm actually junior. After the founder, I'm the distillery manager, part of the blending team, and the quality control, and keeps me very busy.
Okay, and Odair, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, my name is Odair Quetzal, and I work along with Myito at the distillery in terms of all technical aspects relating to fermentation and distillation. So we're just here to give you a little oversight of what we do and how we do it, and hopefully answer some of your questions.
Excellent. Well, great. Well, thank you all. So at this point, we're going to jump into a little presentation that me and Amanda have worked on. If anything wrong with it, blame me. So let's,
Not me.
Yeah, let's get started. So yeah, Amanda, take it away.
Okay, so I'll start with our history. This collage of pictures is in our museum that we opened in 2008 with the help of WRSPA and the European Union too. On the left is my dad when he was very young, I think 22. Then the one next to that is my mom, Perla. So Omario, Perla. And then that's a picture of their wedding day. They were very young, 20 and 22. And their parents and grandparents. The next picture is a picture of me holding a baby who is not one of our siblings, and I think Myito and Romel are there, and another sister, Donna. Going back to the bottom slides, shows you pictures of us traveling in a truck that my dad had, where he would deliver liquor, but we would also use it on the weekends for family trips. And then the very bottom two pictures on the right, my dad's family. I think he's the one in the front in black shirt, and then he's also the one on the bottom with a black shirt. So that's our family. And of course, I'd like to show this because he's the one who created this business. He came from a poor family and wanted to do something for himself and for his growing family. So in 1953, he opened a bar. He was working as a salesman. He honed his salesmanship skills very early. So he was a very successful salesman with a prominent company, but decided he needed to do more. So in 1953, he opened a bar. And in that time, they had a few distillers around who had sugarcane plantations, and they would also make rum. He would buy the rum and blend different blends of rum. And then as he was more successful, he started to brand them with labels, eventually creating more than 21 products. Over time, and as we grew up, there were 6 of us. As we grew up, he incorporated and included us in the board to make decisions. And I think that was 1982. And then as we became more successful, we decided to buy a distillery. So in 1989 was when we acquired the distillery that we have now in Belmopan. Before, he would buy rum from other distillers.
Did he buy rum from this distillery as well, or is this a brand new?
Yes, he was getting. Myito has more.
The distillery that we own right now, the distillery what we are right now, he had a little shareholding in it.
Okay.
He didn't own it completely.
Okay.
But all the rum that distillery produced,
Okay.
well, we bought all from them. Everything that they produced.
Okay. So
it was after that we had to buy the guy out because he was not really, he had other business ventures we had to expand.
So the family history goes back more than the 31 years there. It goes back even farther than that in terms of rum from this distillery.
Right.
Yeah, a little bit further, yes.
Okay.
But of course, we made changes to the distillery, right, Myito? Myito knows, he was there on the ground.
It was, we discontinued using pot stills, and then we got the 1 column continuous still. Okay. As you're going to see a slide on it.
Okay, excellent. Okay, yeah, we'll talk more about that later then. Okay, keep going.
Yeah.
Oh, me? Okay. Well, we could go on the next slide. So this just gives you a little recap. We have our distillery in Belmopan, which is about 50 miles out of Belize City, and it's the altitude is a little higher than Belize City. It's like 249 feet. So the aging is a little bit different in Belmopan versus Belize because there's a big difference in day and night. Not a big, but bigger difference during the day and night temperatures. Mm-hmm. So the aging is a little bit different.
Okay.
In Belmopan. Okay. So we age in Belmopan, and we also age in Belize City.
Okay. And we noticed there the local molasses, I know you use local molasses. Are you able to be supplied entirely from local molasses? Do you have to import any?
No.
I'll let the distillery guys do that.
Yeah. All the molasses comes from the sugar mills here in Belize.
Okay.
I don't think we would we'd have to have very special permits and connections with the government to bring in molasses.
Okay.
It's just prohibited at this time with the 2 factories that we have.
Right. Okay. Yeah. It's rare. It's getting harder and harder for rum producing countries in the Caribbean to be able to supply all of their own molasses. So you're sort of ahead of the curve in that regard.
Yes, and even though we have 2 sugar mills, the molasses they give us is like most of the rum producers all over the world will tell you that it's a real challenge to deal with the molasses. The sugar mills have become so much more efficient that they give us less sugars in the molasses. So
yeah, we'll talk more about that in a bit. I have more questions on that, but I want to keep going.
Okay.
Okay, so the distillery is in Belmopan, the blending, aging, bottling, and distribution is in Belize City. So we do have to transport the rum, and it's about an hour there, 50 miles. So that's, some distilleries have everything in one location, but that is a little challenging for us. At that blending facility, we are on a very prominent road, the road to the airport. So everybody passes that road. It's very busy. And we also have a museum there that we were able to build, like I said, because of WIRSPA. And that features our rum, and we'll see some slides of that later.
Okay.
And so in Belize, I think we're the only company that ages to any degree. We started aging about 15 years ago, maybe more, maybe 20 years ago. And so that's a big part of our business is the aging. We are FAIR certified, and one of our rums is ACR certified through WIRSPA.
Right. So that would be the authentic Caribbean rum mark, which is a WIRSPA program, and you'll see a little mark on the bottle. Can you tell us a little more about what FAIR certified entails?
Well, because one of our age rums was sold to an independent producer or a private label, which is Fair Rum, the chain of supply had to be certified. So we had to go through the process of certification. And the sugar cane farmers are FAIR, even all the way back to the farmers, it's FAIR certified. And then the sugar company is certified, and then we're certified, and then the rum is certified.
Great.
So we've gotten that. At this time, I think I would like to mention that all our family has been involved to some degree. And my oldest brother, Romel, was the manager for many years before he retired. So I think he managed for over 30 years. And then my youngest sister, Perla, managed for a few years. I went in after she had a job in the UK, and I went in and took over a little bit. And then now my youngest sister, Magali, who's not on this panel, but she's listening in. Magali has been there since 2014 and doing a great job. Just wanted to mention all the people who've been there. Myito has been there most of the time in blending and now with the distillery.
Yeah. And I met Magali last year with you as well.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So distillery.
Well, just like Ms. Amanda mentioned, this is our facility, the Travelers Distillery, located in Belmopan, which goes without saying is the capital of the country. As she mentioned, we're a little bit higher in terms of the sea level. Another important thing to keep note of as we talk about fermentation is that we're at the base of the only mountain range in the country, which is referred to as the Maya Mountains. And due to that, we do have an abundant supply of naturally occurring water in terms of springs, wells, rivers. So just an interesting point now as we talk about fermentation, we mentioned the type of water that we use and some of the benefits that it has, no?
So you have multiple water sources, or do you pull everything from a well, or how does that work?
Yeah, like I said, that was the thing. We have an adequate abundant supply of water in this area. So we do use well water in all our operations.
Okay. Yeah, so this is just
probably can go.
Sure. Yeah, and now we're sort of inside the distillery here.
Yeah. Well, like we've mentioned before, everything that we need is supplied in country in terms of molasses. Now we have 2 sugar mills, One is about maybe 25 minutes away, the newest sugar mill in country. The other one is about 75 miles away. So basically, we just keep ferrying our bowsers back and forth to have a continuous supply in stock. That way, we never run short. But for all intents and purposes, molasses supply has never been an issue. Quality, on the other hand, has become of increasing concern, right? Like Myito mentioned, and it's not just travelers facing that problem. No, it's rum producers in the entire region. As technology advances and the sugar mills become more efficient, it's just something that we'll have to cope with.
Right. So do
from
you?
now on, no?
Right. So I know, for example, I know of at least a Puerto Rican producer that I visited. They said that that the molasses that they buy, they have to augment it with high test molasses. Do you have to do something like that, or do you just figure out a way to work with just just sugar?
At the moment, no. All we do, we don't add anything, the high test, we don't add anything, we just use the molasses as is. However, we have made some minor adjustments to our fermentation procedures. But in terms of additives to this point, no, we haven't had to do that.
Okay. And those are molasses tanks we're seeing out front.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a larger tank, maybe in the background, larger tank where you store like your several months?
We have capacity to store at any given time maybe 100 metric tons.
Okay.
So basically, we just keep, as the trailers or bowsers we come into, we just ferry them back and forth. So we always have them when we're operational.
Okay.
So we always have a supply, no?
Okay. Okay. Oh, go on.
No, I was just going to say, and in the background, you can see the still house. Basically, it's just a wide shot of the still house. But as the slides continue, we'll talk more about, because I believe they have some pictures of the columns.
Right. So so up on the far right there, that tank there, is that a fermenter tank or is that something else?
No, that's just a holding tank.
Okay, a holding tank. Okay. All right. Okay, cool. Keep going.
Well, this is our fermentation hall. Basically, again, we're a manual run operation. I won't use the word small, but our quantities are not comparable to the bigger distilleries maybe you'll be familiar with. So we do run on a smaller operation. We still run shifts. Our capacity, as we talk about the columns, we'll see that we operate basically at a third of our possible capacity. We do have the ability to produce more if we wanted, but it would require significant investment in infrastructure and technology, no?
Okay.
So basically, what you're seeing in that slide is just our fermentation tanks.
Okay. So how many tanks in general are there?
We have six fermentation tanks.
Okay.
And like I said, when we're operational, we use them in tandem, so it's cyclical, so we never stop, no? I believe this is the only slide that shows the fermentation tank, so I guess I could talk a little bit about the fermentation.
Right.
In this instance, just basic. I don't think we actually have an actual slide of the fermentation.
No.
So basically, what we do is just basically not just scratching the surface. We basically source our molasses. We do our analysis, in-house analysis, determine sugar and other quality aspects of the molasses, and then we proceed with our processing. No, basically, what we do initially is we pasteurize our molasses mixture. We propagate, then we ferment.
Okay.
A key thing to mention here probably is that the type of fermentation we do. We try to do a rapid fermentation. Our fermentation lasts between I'd say 36 to 40 hours maximum.
Okay.
We try to run a clean, smooth fermentation to obtain. Our objective is always to obtain a neutral spirit, so to speak, a light spirit, because all the products that we produce for blending purposes. So we try to produce as a neutral spirit as possible, no?
Okay.
So that's basically.
Yeah. So
go ahead.
The molasses, the yeast. So do you have your own proprietary yeast strain and propagate, or do you buy existing, prepackaged yeast, so to speak, or?
Prepackaged.
We buy prepackaged yeast and something, I don't know. we do a unique fermentation. Again, we have worked with consultants and stuff, but something that may be strange to most people is that the type of yeast we use baker's yeast. We don't use any distiller's yeast or anything. We use a locally sourced baker's yeast.
Okay.
Several people will tell you, well, that's a no-no, but for us, we've had people visiting us, and they have been quite surprised with what we're doing and how it works.
Okay.
So I just thought I would share that with you as something kind of unique, you know?
Okay. Yeah. Now, is the fermentation temperature controlled?
Yes. Even though it's manual, we do control. We operate between 33 or 35 being the maximum that we try to. Again, it's manually controlled. Again, the thing to keep in mind, we have an abundant supply of water, so we do use that to our advantage for cooling purposes, right?
Okay.
I don't know if yeah.
Are those closed fermenters or open?
Yeah, closed.
Closed. Okay.
Yeah.
Any capture any carbon dioxide?
No, we don't capture any carbon dioxide.
Okay. Cool. All right. Cool. All right. I'm out of questions for this slide.
Okay. Well, this is just another slide showing the still house again. What we'll notice in the other slides coming up is that we actually, the still house you're seeing there with the red still house, that houses the old column that we no longer use, and in the far left you'd see the setup of the 3 continuous stills that we now use.
Okay.
So
I think the other slide will show that clearer.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, on my far right, what you see is the one that's housed in the red still house. Okay. That was the first continuous still that the company bought after moving away from pot stills.
Okay.
I'm not sure the time frame they use that, maybe about 10, 12 years, I would think. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But again, the issue of capacity came into play, and it was no longer adequate enough for the operations at the distillery. So they upgraded to the 3 still setup that you see on your far left.
Okay. So that's
yeah.
Quick question: the original still was that just that one still that you were using?
Yeah. It was a column design, stripping column on the bottom and a rectifier on the top.
Yeah, so somewhat like the Martinique stills. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Go on.
So then we moved on to with the image you see on the far left. That's the current setup that we're using right now, continuous still. An important thing, and interesting to note that was bought in the U.S. and it was converted from a column that used to produce fuel ethanol.
Okay.
Using corn. When it was brought here, it was converted to a distilling column to produce rum, produce a light neutral alcohol, with the aid, of course, of a U.S. engineering firm, no?
Right. The firm of Quetzal came and did all the modifications for that project there. When we bought these columns out of a place in the U.S. called Portales, New Mexico.
Okay.
But there's a lot of gasohol being produced at that time.
Okay.
So,
okay. So my understanding is that this is actually a 2-column still, but I see 3 columns there.
Yeah, it's 3 columns, but basically what happened is that that could be mounted on top of one or the other.
Okay.
It could be mounted higher, but because we're in the hurricane zone, the engineers just decided to lay it out.
Okay.
Well, actually, when we bought it, that's the way it was set up.
Okay.
When we bought it, it was set up like that. It was never one column with everything on it.
Okay. So how many plates in the rectification column?
In the rectification column, it has 18.
Okay. Okay. And so do you how many different sort of, I guess, marks do you pull off of this?
Okay. Well, we produce 3 different marks. For the neutral spirit that we try to get, we produce at 95 to 96%.
Okay.
When we're aging, we produce at 90%.
Okay.
And then we produce, in a previous conversation I had with you, we produce a high ester mark that's about 85 to 88%.
Okay.
That we use as well for blending and other products.
And we age some of it.
And age as for aging as well.
Okay. So basically, but the 3 marks are primarily just what plate you're pulling from?
Yes, basically from which plate we're pulling, yes.
So tell us more about the high ester, because I know we talked about this earlier. So is it the same fermentation? It's just a matter of what plate it's going from, or is there something different?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it's the same fermentation. It's just a different mark that we pull off.
Okay.
Again, it's something new that we've started with the aging of that. I think it's the second year that we've started to age.
Well, we at the distillery started aging it. This is going on the third year.
Okay.
However, we have been doing it in Belize City. We have been aging that rum for a while.
Okay. Okay. So just to recap, you have 3 different marks. One is at 96, which is essentially almost neutral. One at you pull off 90%, and then one at the high ester mark is at 85%.
Yeah.